What's up, hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Snipe Celly. My name is Dan Bradley. Joel Fernino is trying to mouth along with what I'm saying. Joel.
I did pretty good. I think I did pretty good.
You did okay.
I think I did pretty good. Hello, Dan.
You messed with me a little bit there, but we're out of the gates and we're firing here.
Yeah.
Joel, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I am yet again in my Pat McAfee era this week with the
how's the tap feeling?
Oh, it's great now, but when you moisturize it, like I said, it's just easier to not have a sleeve on, so I don't feel like it's like when you
irritation.
Not even irritation now. Like now it's fine. It's starting to get past like the itchy phase, and anyone who has a tattoo knows what I'm talking about.
Right now, that's what it was last week.
No, last week it was still kind of sore too.
I thought you said there was some itching last week too.
Yeah, but it gets worse once it stops hurting, because then it's like, okay, now it's really healing. That's when it starts itching. Now it's pretty much like almost good to go, but you moisturize it for like a good month after you get it. So it's just a lot easier when I get home to just not have sleeves on.
I guess that makes some sense.
I have to preface it because it's not like, oh, Mr. Gun Show's wearing sleeveless all of a sudden. No, like I said, I'm just, until it's fully healed, I'm just going to do shows in my Pat McAfee era. It's fine.
Guile, who is a regular commenter of ours, when he was the camera operator in the booth with me covering Minnesota Iron Rangers games, would also never wear sleeves while in the press box. And frequently I would either have a team jersey on with like a jacket under it or a jacket over it, depending how we were feeling. It would frequently be at or below zero outside the rink, meaning it would be, depending where you were at, maybe about 20, 30 degrees in the rink. And Guile always had to cut off sleeves when he was in the booth. I can count on one hand the number of times in my life that I have seen that man with long sleeves on. So, Guile, if you're watching, sleeves, we love you, and we're glad you are a part of the audience, and hope you're back here soon.
Speaking of the proverbial, Brad, you're back. B-Rad, what's up?
B-Rad's joining us. Love to see it.
Mark, our favorite. What's up, boys? And Dan, I mean, I don't know if they're watching quite yet, but I did promise a shout out because you told me today we're officially back live on Facebook.
We are. So we had some issues with StreamYard and Facebook not wanting to work together, and that's because Facebook changed their protocol about what pages could post live content and send live video to those pages. So we needed to hit one more follower today in order to get to that milestone where Facebook could be like, yep, okay, you're good. It took all of 5 minutes. As soon as I texted our group chat, said, hey, we need one more person to follow this page so that we can actually go live on Facebook tonight as well, beyond just YouTube and Twitter. So exactly. Joel, you got a shout out to me.
Yes. I don't even know if she's watching yet, but Natalie, thank you for officially being our 100th follower on Facebook.
Appreciate you.
I promised the shout out. If you didn't hear it live, you could just hear it back on the YouTubes or the Facebooks.
As Pat Foley would say, tree into the show. So you got your marker there for when to go back and listen.
Go Cats. Is Northwestern
Joey is hopping on the Panthers wagon.
Oh, I'm thinking Northwestern, but I live in Chicago. Bear with me, all right?
I mean, yeah, that's makes some sense.
That's our Big Ten team. it's Also, no, Joey, shut up. I love you, but shut up.
Well, let's get into things right away here tonight with the Stanley Cup Final, where the Florida Panthers, as we just mentioned, hold a 2-0 series lead over the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup Final. And Joel, game one to me was a game that Florida stole. I thought Edmonton outplayed Florida in game one.
I agree.
Game two, Florida really showed why they were the favorite going into the series and why many were considering them the better team of the two. What are your thoughts on each of the first two games?
Game one, I totally agree. Like, that was kind of just a coin flip to me. I think both teams played relatively well, but I do agree. Like, Edmonton deserves to win that game, and it just didn't happen. Bobrovsky was sensational. Yeah, he's absolutely sensational. The playoff Bobrovsky is something to behold, and Stanley Cup Final Bobrovsky is something to even more behold, right? Like it's
32 save shutout in game 1.
Which I thought I saw some stat about like it's a single digit time that like game 1 or no, I'm sorry. It's his second shutout straight series wise. He had a shutout last series and now he's got a shutout to go this series. The number 1 cop on the force. He really is right now. He is back. Not even remotely close to being off the case like I want him to be. But
I mean, on my hierarchy of players I am most rooting for in the Cup Final, Bobrovsky is number 2. Yeah, McDavid is 1. Bobrovsky is 2. I can be content with Bobrovsky finally getting a cup after the years of misery he had to go through with Columbus trying to drag that team to the playoffs, with signing with Florida and everybody immediately writing him off and saying that's an albatross contract. He'll never be able to live up to it. He has so far. Let's get that very clear. He has earned that contract.
Oh, there's no question about his contract being an overpay whatsoever. No, absolutely not. He is a top 5 goaltender in this league. He is being paid as such. He deserves it.
Also, unfortunately, I believe this is going to be the last show where we'll ever get to reference Cap Friendly. Because for those who missed that news, the Washington Capitals are the biggest haters. I hate the way that they walk. I hate the way that I can't say that because they're my wife's team.
Yeah, I was like, isn't your wife a Caps fan?
She is. She is. I was trying to go for the
Michelle. Take him out. Take him out.
I'm the biggest hater of this decision. Cap Friendly. I use that basically anytime I do any hockey writing. It's such an unbelievable reference and a good tool for people to have that the Washington Capitals have decided we want to buy this and make it exclusive to us. Nobody else can have this API. Teams use this. Teams use it often because of the different tools that they have in there to put everything together, really laid out nicely, very easy to use. I'm going to take 2 seconds because I went to look up on Cap Friendly Bobrovsky's contract. He has 2 more years at a 10 mil cap hit. He's 35 now. So
and that's
even if he regresses back to being an average goaltender, if he wins them the cup this year,
if you win him a cup, that's money well spent. If he wins you a cup,
especially because
it's plain and simple. Doesn't matter.
Right now, he's your Conn Smythe winner in my book.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I could understand the argument for McDavid on the losing team if McDavid had scored a goal or even a point in the first 2 games of the series. He has not.
He has.
Did he assist on the goal last night?
He assisted on the first goal last night.
The only goal last night.
The only goal, sorry. Yes, the only goal for Edmonton last night. Before what was it, 4 unanswered, I believe, right?
No, because it was 2-0.
No,
you're right. Yeah, it was
1-0, and then
it was 1-0, and then 4 unanswered. But you're right. Yeah, McDavid did have the primary assist on that goal.
Yeah, so I have a question about that, but hold on. I want to hear your take on it. But I mean, Bobrovsky stole the show in game 1. It was something where, like, you hear me griping now. I'm riding with Edmonton. I want them to win. I have a bet on McDavid to win the Conn Smythe. That clearly means they pretty much have to win for that to happen, type of thing. I want things to stay perfect. I want Edmonton to win. It's not going well. Game 1 did not give me that feeling of like, well, shit. Like, the Edmonton clearly didn't show up. They did. They absolutely did. Bobrovsky was just a legend. Now, game 2, on the other hand, was an absolute dumpster fire shit show. And what did I tell you last week that Edmonton needed to do to ensure that they have success and can actually win this series?
Yeah, we said they needed to do 2 things. 1, they needed to control the puck, not get into the hitting game, but control the puck.
Right.
And 2, Florida is going to hit you. Florida is going to get under your skin. You have to be more poised and mature and composed than that.
Exactly.
And they completely lost composure in game 2.
Yep. Exactly. And I said leadership needs to make sure they are leadership And even McDavid started doing some shit last night, like throwing hands to the face.
Yep, he was mucking it up in the post whistle scrums. He popped Kachuk at one point,
which is fine.
Which I had no issue with that.
That's fine. But that's the thing. When your captain is in game 2, his skin is already starting to crawl from Florida giving them fits. It's a recipe for disaster, and they looked like a disaster last night. Like last night's game told me they're getting swept. That's just me being overreactionary first take Joel for a minute, but what evidence can you provide me that shows me right now they're not going to get swept after last night's bullshit performance?
After last night, it gets a lot tougher.
Yeah,
but
game 1, I agree.
My rule is it is never a series until the home team loses a game.
Yep.
If Edmonton rights the ship in game 3, they get to go back home. They get the extra day off between games for the travel. If they get that and they settle back down, get back to their game plan. Because we saw it, literally everything that they've done well fell apart. They had allowed they killed off 30 something consecutive penalties against. They gave up a power play goal. You have McDavid, who is normally incredibly stoic, even keeled, never too high, never too low. You had him showing signs of frustration. You had Leon Draisaitl getting pissy and launching himself at Barkov, which we're going to get into that in a minute.
We will touch on that, yes.
We had lack of discipline at the end of the game with guys picking up misconducts and getting thrown out and eventually fined for it. So many of the things that Edmonton did well, they completely stopped in game 2. The adjustments, I mean, you have to look at what worked in game 1, because yes, you didn't get the win, but as we talked about earlier in the show, Edmonton outplayed Florida in game 1. And I think what we're seeing at this point is this Oilers team is right now where the Florida Panthers were at this point last year, where they had played against Vegas, who had a lot of postseason experience. They had made several deep recent playoff runs. They had been to a cup final with that core.
They were also one of the deepest teams we've ever seen.
So they had all of that. Vegas had all of that going for them last year. Florida did not. Now Florida has that experience. They've been there. They've had that taste of, okay, we had what it took to get there, but now do we have what it takes to get over the top and really push through to get 4 more wins? And now they're halfway there. They need 2 more to do it. And they're going to have potentially at least 1 more at home to be able to try and get the job done. To me, Edmonton is in that spot of still figuring out what it takes to play in a Stanley Cup versus Florida, who knows what it is to play it in that mode. And that bodes really well for Florida the rest of the series.
I agree. And you know what else bodes well for Florida? This stat I'm about to give you.
Lay it on me.
Game 2. The grand total of shots on goal by Oilers forwards, 6.
Yep.
6. The defensemen on the Oilers had more shots on goal than their forwards. That is a recipe, especially on a team that's so offensively just skilled as Edmonton is. That's a recipe for, you're going to get your ass kicked like you did.
And not only that, but when you have defensemen who like to shoot the puck, when you have guys like Darnell Nurse, who, yes, he got hurt, but he likes to shoot the puck. Evan Bouchard likes to shoot the puck. Philip Broberg likes to shoot the puck. Matthias Ekholm was your goal scorer. It was Brett Kulak who led the team in shots on goal for the game. He had 5. When Brett Kulak is out shooting Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl put together, that's a problem.
You're going to have a bad time.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You have to be able to get contributions from up and down your lineup. It can't just be, you can't be one line defense and goaltending.
Nope.
You have to have 4 lines that you can roll. And even if they aren't scoring, they need to be contributing in other meaningful ways. Right now, we're not seeing the depth contributions from Edmonton's forward group that we're seeing from Florida, and that's the difference in the series. Mark with a great point there as well. Saying
they really
Florida
are.
is turning into the model of what playoff hockey needs to be to win in this league. I hate saying that, but wow, it's true. Yeah, they have it figured out, and they built exactly what they're doing on what the Tampa Bay Lightning model was. So we saw Tampa Bay winning games with defense, with goaltending, but being able to churn 4 lines and consistently being comfortable giving up first-round picks to acquire the depth that they needed to get over the top. And I think that's why Tampa Bay went out and brought Ryan McDonagh back, is because McDonagh knows the system, he has the experience, and he can bring what the Lightning need defensively. Brad asking here, is Florida's defense that good? So far, they have been. And not only that, but it's been their team defense. Aleksander Barkov absolutely shut down.
His name is Sasha.
Yeah, that's what they call him, but Alexander's his birth name.
We're informal here, Dan. We're always.
I'm a little more formal between the two of us. Let's be serious.
A little more? I'm wearing a sleeveless Avenged Sevenfold t-shirt, Dan. You're wearing a polo.
Yeah.
I think we know who's more formal here. It's me.
All that to say, Barkov has been phenomenal in the series in limiting high danger opportunities. The Oilers, if I saw correctly, they either had one high danger scoring chance in all situations and none at 5-on-5. That was the stat.
I saw that. Yep.
That's inexcusable for a team that has the offensive firepower that the Oilers have. And again, that's a testament to the job that Florida is doing defensively to knock Edmonton off their game.
It's interesting because, like, as I overreact to they're going to get swept, blah, blah, blah. Would you agree in a playoff series, doesn't matter, finals, conference finals, first round, whatever, games 2 and 3 are like the dog days of the series?
Game 1 is
always
set the tone,
and it's usually never high scoring. This one was not.
Yeah.
Game 2
is where things open up and you really get more of a taste of, okay, how are the teams going to line up?
I wish I had numbers to back this up. But game 2 to me is always the sloppiest. Whether it's from both teams or one particular team, I feel like game 2 there is always a lot of sloppy play. I don't know
that can be
why.
Your off-season homework is go back and look at goals per game in game 1 of the series and shot attempts in game 1, and then put those numbers together for game 2 and see how they compare across the playoffs. Because guess what? That's betting data that you can use for next season when it gets to playoff time.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair.
Calculating your over-under totals and whatnot. So, Joel, you hinted to this earlier in the show. Is Edmonton going to get swept?
No. I'm not going to, be hot take and actually mean it. It's more tongue-in-cheek that I say they're going to get swept. It's mostly just based off last night. It's just me being stupid. No, they're not going to get swept. But if they don't right the ship and quick, and they don't take tomorrow, I mean, yes, quite literally, they will literally have a foot on their throat if they lose tomorrow. Or I'm sorry, Thursday. Sorry. If they don't come out
a friggin' week between games here.
That's part of it too. I don't want them to get swept selflessly because I want Edmonton to win. Selfishly because I'm going to be in Vegas starting next week, and game 5, if it's necessary, would literally be the first day I'm there. I want to be ass in seat in a sports book watching the Stanley Cup Final.
Mateo jumping in to say the sweep is inbound.
I can't tell if you're trolling or you're serious, but something tells me I think you might be serious.
Mateo is one that plays jump rope with the line of trolling and not trolling.
That's why we love him.
You can never be quite sure, and it's always good for content.
Yeah. Mark, guns are out, so there's no rules. Mark,
Joel being on the show means there's no rules anymore.
Yeah. There's a reason we had to add the explicit tag to now we're not on Spotify anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But
no, but we did have to mention on YouTube, like, hey,
What? What?
Channel
What?
maybe profanity.
Oh, come on.
Just so that we don't show up on YouTube Kids and then people, yeah.
Wait, hold on. That sounds hilarious. Anywho, no, I don't think they're going to get swept. And quite frankly, I'll call my shot right now. I probably am alluding to what you were going to ask later in the show anyway. I think they win game 3.
I'm sorry. I'm still laughing at the YouTube Kids. And all right, kids, how do you spell Rafi Torres? B-I-T.
Shut it off. Shut it off. Pull the laptop away. I would.
You're never watching that show again.
B-Rad wants to see a kid's version of this show. That would.
Boy.
I mean, would that just be me not showing up and Dan just doing it? Hey-o! Just kidding. I hope you're not going to say that you think they're going to get swept. I got to ride high with my boys. I've rode all season long that they were going to win the cup. I can't quit now, even though they're down 2-0. And good God, the way they played in game 2, you would think they're down 3-0.
Mm-hmm. I think to me, the biggest factor in whether or not a sweep is on the table is whether or not Barkov is back. We saw Edmonton start to try to take some chances offensively. Of course, they pulled the goalie with almost 6 minutes left in the game, down by 2 at that point. And that was almost immediately after the Draisaitl Barkov collision play. What do we got here?
Mateo with a comment of the century. Spell Rafi Torres 10-game suspension.
Beautiful. Well done, Mateo.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Get out the band hammer. But we talked about how key Barkov has been to everything Florida does, but especially defensively, and how well he has contained, whether he's been on McDavid, on Draisaitl, on both throughout the series. Paul Maurice has put on a coaching clinic so far in this series. And especially as well with when the reporters were asking him about the play where Barkov was injured and left the game. He missed the final almost 10 minutes of the game. Gave a very diplomatic answer and said something about how the league looks at all the plays that are of potential concern. We're not going to worry about it. We're going to let them do what they're going to do. He's been a quote machine throughout the playoffs as well. The one where he said they were talking about the profanity with his players, and his quote was something to the effect of, "I'm not good at a lot of things in this life, but fuck me, am I good at that?" For cussing out his players and firing them up. He had the one about how this team had 100 and some odd points last year, and this season I got him to 98. Great job, me.
He's so good. Like
I hate that I like him as much as I do. He's such a good coach. Well, because he was with Winnipeg before, so had to not like. Now that he's in Florida, I can like him a lot more. I've certainly liked him since he's gone to the Eastern Conference.
There's 2 questions that kind of go with each other really quick. I will take. Is Chicago done with ice sessions during development camp, or is off ice? So those have not started yet, especially because the combine, I believe, just happened.
Yeah, it's underway.
Yeah,
I believe.
So I'm pretty sure on ice stuff hasn't really happened unless it's just like optional type stuff. But I don't think so yet. It should be soon.
Yeah, it should be starting soon. They do have like a couple informal skates usually shortly after the draft, just to get guys playing with each other, but that tends to be more player organized than team organized.
Yeah, and then that goes with, so Joel, you guys drafting Levshunov, which I want to update you on my thoughts on this.
Can you also update it in our mock draft Google Doc that we've got going?
Yes.
Because
I actually
spoiler
plan
alert,
on-
2 weeks from today, we will do our mock draft show.
That's
where we
a
go
tease.
together for our entire first round, not just the first 5 picks, not the first 10. We'll do a full first round mock. It'll be a long show. It'll probably be about a 2-hour show.
We did it last year.
We did it
most
last
of
year,
you
and it was-
were most of you were here for it. Mark wasn't here for it.
No, so Mark, you're gonna get
Mark,
a
you're
taste
gonna
of
get
that
some
one.
good stuff. Yeah, you're gonna get a full mock draft.
Which is a bummer because Boston doesn't even have a first round pick this year.
Yeah, that's true.
I think, and again, second time in this show I've referenced cap friendly. They don't have a pick until the 4th round this year, barring a trade. So,
yeah,
Boston's going to need to get creative in the draft room.
And Mateo, I agree. He Sean might be the tipping point to full Chicago sympathizer because the man is a fucking electric factory. So, yes, I will update our doc, but also, Joel, there was a report last year that Chicago was not going to do on-ice sessions during the duration of development camp. Rather keep the week in the. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That was last year. I wouldn't be surprised if that's. I remember when that report came out last year because then it became a thing. Like fans mostly like, oh, what the hell? Why are we doing that? And it was like, it doesn't matter. Like they're not doing anything anyway. You're not learning a damn thing on those most of the time. So. I'm assuming they're probably going to keep it that way. I haven't heard anything about them switching it up, but I don't know. I'm assuming they'll keep things that way. But yeah, I not to go on a tangent, but I think I might have changed my tune. I think I want Levshunov. I was listening to my favorite podcast. I always mention it, the CHGO Blackhawks podcast, and they too found out some deeper reports on Demidov and like unsure, the uncertainty of if he's gonna like sign another kind of like potentially 3-year KHL contract because his is up.
Like he could come over and be playing NHL next year.
Yes,
if he wanted to, but again,
and that's
that
the thing.
On
it sounds
where
like
he's drafted and where the team feels is going to be best for his development.
Yeah. So on it. They had Joe Brand, who's another not local. He's local. He does a lot of Hawk stuff, but he does more than just Hawk stuff. I think he's a decent sized name. He had mentioned there's some stuff about just there's a lot of chatter going around, like uncertainty on if he's going to re-sign with the KHL. So then you're on like a Matvei Michkov type waiting time. With
Demidov. Thank goodness that's not the case for Demidov this year. That it would be a 3-year wait. Like, however, it does sound like Michkov might be coming over a year early.
Oh,
he might have an out. I've heard some rumors that could be the case, and that he potentially could be in a Flyers jersey next year, which would be incredible.
That'd be nuts. That'd be cool. So yeah, I mean, like. It's scary. Again, we're not in win now mode. It's not like we need him right now, but I also don't want to wait however long the contract might be if he did re-sign a contract with the KHL. And it also sounds like just a lot of chatter that has him falling out of the top 5 potentially. Like there's
and not even so much that he's falling out, but that others have moved up so much. Like this is unlike last year where we had pretty much a consensus, like here are your top 3 or 4.
Yep.
There's really no consensus period after Macklin Celebrini. Which
he's gonna go second overall because Demidov's gonna go first.
Yeah, Joel is doing exactly what we were doing with Fantilli this time last year.
Yep.
And
clearly better.
Just in the hope that
the Sharks just make a stupid decision.
that the top center that everybody writes as the number 1 guy ends up falling to the number 2 pick. We can hope it won't happen.
All I'm saying is the top 2nd overall pick dropped to 3 last year. So,
and again, part of that too was during the regular season, the North American skaters always get rated higher than European skaters. And then closer to draft time, once people are really digging in on the European prospects, they always come rising up on the draft boards late. It's what happened with Simone Nemec to go way high. It's what happened with Juraj Slafkovsky to go way high. Yeah. We've seen it a lot in recent years, and that's why Carlson was taken ahead of Fantilli last year. I'm a little surprised in that regard that we're seeing that reverse trend with Demidov this year. But again, if you have a top 10 pick in this year's draft, you really can't go wrong whichever player you decide to take in that range. Because
the other name that's been
no consensus right now either.
The other name that floated around on their podcast because he had injury issues, but now it sounds like his medicals basically cleared him, and now he should fly back up the board. Potentially does. Is what's Caden Lindstrom, I believe is his name, right?
Yep, Caden Lindstrom. Yeah. He will be a very good player.
He's a pure center. We do need one of those.
Right. And not only that, but he is a bigger pure center.
Yeah.
And I had told you this. I've texted it to you at HP, and I've said it on the show here. In the last 2 drafts, the Hawks took 6 forwards through the first 3 rounds who were under 6 feet.
You're going to open up a can of worms with me, man.
Getting a forward over 6 feet tall is going to be important at some point. Like, I get it,
but the whole height thing is not a thing to me.
You can't be all speed, all undersized forward all the time. You have to have some size in your lineup.
I get it. But sorry, I didn't want to go too much on a tangent because obviously we have our mock draft next week or in 2 weeks. But I might have started leaning into the Lev Shunov camp a lot more. Hell, even Lindstrom too. I was listening to him get talked about, and I'm like, okay. Like, those 2 over the potential unknown of Demidov. But the nice thing is I know, like, if Kyle Davidson still just picks Demidov anyway, I think that clearly means they know something we don't, and they're confident in it. I'm covering
Mark says he's going to be covering the Bruins Dev Camp this summer as a media member. So, yeah, Mark, I am very much looking forward to your coverage of that. If you are not following Mark, please, by all means, go follow Mark. Awesome Bruins and Providence Bruins coverage. He has been the guy in the
Mark
podcast as well.
You know what, Mark? I want you to be happy, and I want you to have even more fun covering the Bruins like you do. So, where I continue to brush you off and throw funny gifts at you when you suggest it, now that the door has officially been shut, I hope Patrick Kane signs in Boston.
Wow.
That just hurt me a lot to say, and I am holding back tears.
Imagine 5 years ago. Imagine 5 years ago. We'll make it even longer. We'll make it
5.
We'll make it after
I knew you'd like that.
After the 2015 Cup, the Hawks had won 3 cups in the 6 years at that point.
Excited for the mock draft.
Imagine Joel in June of 2015, immediately after that Cup, hearing someone say, "Hey, Joel, 9 years from now, you're going to say, I hope Patrick Kane goes to the Bruins." You would have punched me in the mouth if I had said that in 2015.
I still might. You're not allowed to say it. Only I can say it. And
this is called growth. This is called maturity. Joel is growing up.
Look, I thought there was a little tiny bit of hope, but Kyle Davidson literally shut the door on it and said, "Look, we made a difficult decision. I don't think we're going to go back on it." He literally closed the door. Yet there's still fans here that think it's going to happen or want it to happen. I'm like, look, guys, settle down.
It's not Kane's team. It's not going to happen. Chicago's team.
Yeah. That was
like PWHL Minnesota. You're not going to get players revolting to get the GM removed.
Right.
Anyway, lots of GMs care more about weight room and off ice learning at that stage of the summer and save the on ice for the scrimmages.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Joel, one more question on the Stanley Cup Final, and that is: should Leon Draisaitl have faced supplemental discipline? They reviewed it for a 5-minute major. They called it a 2-minute minor for an illegal check to the head of Aleksander Barkov. Barkov did not return to the game. Draisaitl was not fined, was not suspended as a result of the play. Do you think he should have faced supplemental discipline?
Also, listen to Mark. Smash that YouTube like button. Also, Natalie, I know you're one of them, and I gave you a shout out earlier, so now I'm giving you another shout out to hit the like button. Also, again, you were our 100th follower on Facebook. And actually, I think we're very close to 300 on Twitter.
Sweet. Keep those numbers rolling.
X, Twitter, I don't know, whatever the hell you want to call it. Hold on. Let's see. I can't do math. We are actually over 400. All right. See?
Like we said, your ABDs and your 1-2-4s. You got them figured out.
Yep. Grimmer's overrated. Anyway. You probably won't like my answer. No, I actually don't think you should. Now, I'm going to preface that with it definitely should have been a 5-minute major. And
so
it should have been
to make sure we're on the same page here. You think it should have been a 5. It was not called a 5, but there's no fine or suspension required to accommodate for the difference in the fact that it should have been a 5 and was not.
Yeah, I know. It kind of seems weird, but I watched the play. It's blatant, but the weird thing is it didn't look like hard, which is ironic too, because Barkov didn't come back.
It doesn't have to be a bone-crushing hit.
Oh, there we go. Let's go. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie. Thanks for the follow.
We always have to call out new fans. We do it all the time. Yeah, I know. Trust me. I know I sound stupid saying he doesn't deserve a fine. Look, I'm not very meat-headed on most takes. I really usually stay out of that camp. It being the playoffs / the final, and I get it. Barkov didn't return, but I haven't heard anything since. I'm assuming he's going to play.
He is questionable for game 3.
He'll play.
I don't know. When it's head, you don't want to mess around.
I know, and it's weird though, because like watching it, and again, like in person, in real time, it's a little different. It looked like it wasn't that hard. The intent was obviously there. I'm not arguing that, but it just looked like it ended up like not landing. Which again, that's why I'm saying the intent is clearly there. So maybe you've talked me into a $5,000 fine, which is if that's what. Who was it? Who should have absolutely gotten a suspension and only got a $5,000 fine? It was during the conference finals. I can't remember who it was. We talked about it too.
Well, hang on here.
Oh, you're pulling it up now. All right.
I'm going to pull it up for
All
us
right,
here.
Here we go.
And go full screen here so everybody can.
I love that the channel's name is Tough Call.
So we're going to get a couple angles here. So here's the first initial angle in real time.
See, it's so
we see
weird.
the elbow come up.
Yep.
We see the upward trajectory. We see the direct to the face.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm saying it's absolutely blatant. But like, it looks like it's like he almost doesn't land the shot he's trying to take. Is this frozen or is this? Oh,
no, it's slowed down so that you
can
see the upward trajectory there.
To me, like they didn't rule it a concussion, especially if he's questionable.
Well, they wouldn't have said it even if it was a concussion at this point. They would wait on that until after the season.
It's fair. We're gonna find out. Like that's just always what happens in the final. Whenever it ends, they come forward and they're like, oh, so and so Patrice Bergeron had a punctured lung. Like maybe we find out Barkov has a fractured skull, something crazy. I hope that's not the case. I don't think it is either, but. B-Rad, no, a 5-minute is always a major.
Yeah,
but they didn't give him a 5-minute major. They gave him a 2-minute minor.
They called it a 5 on the ice because that allows them to review it. If they call it a 2-minute on the ice, they can't review
I didn't know.
So they had to call it a 5 on the ice to review it for the major, and then after the major, after they reviewed it, then they scaled it down to 2.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Look here. I guess you've. If that slash to the balls wasn't called, nothing was getting the call.
Yeah, and not only that, but Draisaitl, I saw somebody post today that the spearing incidents that Draisaitl has is the closest he's going to get to a cup at this point.
It's pretty good.
He's got a history.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good. I give that a 9 out of 10 on dad jokes.
He's never been suspended. He was fined in 2017 for spearing and was fined, I believe, 2023, like last season, 2023 though. for a dangerous trip. So he has somewhat of a history here, but no history of suspension, which again is another part of the problem with the Department of Player Safety, is because they continually let so much stuff go. You also get to a point where guys who continue to do these borderline dirty and in some cases outright dirty things don't have the official history on record to be able to enact supplemental discipline when needed here. I would not have had a problem with them saying, yep, okay, fine for Draisaitl here. That they didn't was a surprise to me. I did not think the suspension was incoming, especially after they called it a 2. I wouldn't have been surprised at all to have seen a fine. I'm actually more surprised that there wasn't.
I agree. I definitely was surprised that they didn't call it a 5. You guys were texting through it. I actually missed it live, but then tuned in later after it had happened. But I was very surprised it didn't get called because, like I said, the intent is ridiculously obvious. It's just so interesting that it looks like it was like the lightest tap ever, but clearly it wasn't. So that's just a bad angle for us, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see a fine, but I'm not going to sit here and say he should be suspended for it because, as I was saying with the whole meatheaded thing, I'm never meatheaded on pretty much anything, but it's the playoffs. You need to do something pretty egregious, especially in the final, to get suspended. In my opinion.
And Mark bringing up the point of
it.
Bennett on Marchand. Yeah, because Bennett wasn't suspended for a punch, and it was a punch, and we have angles that showed it was a punch.
Yes,
it was contact to the head. There should have been supplemental discipline. There was not.
I have a tangent question related to this question for you.
Okay.
What about the knee on knee?
That one
I can't remember the names that were involved in that either.
It was Eetu Losterainen for Florida. He was the player who got kneed, and then it wasn't Desharnais because he was the one who did the cup check. It was Warren Fogle.
There
Warren
you go.
Fogle was the one who.
Yes.
I can understand not having the supplemental discipline for the knee on knee because they called it a 5. They called it a 5, and they also gave him a game misconduct for the knee on knee.
Yep.
If they had given him a 5 but no game, I could understand a fine there. But again, because you had 5 in a game, and not only that, but it was first period, so he missed all of that game. It's a lot like what we saw with Jamie Benn last year, where he picked up a 5 in a game very early. It was like 2 minutes into a game for the Stars. And then he was out for that one.
He's got a point. Of course, we always talk about the scraps, Super Smash Bros. Style. Do you know, I just saw, I follow this account that's like 90s nostalgia or whatever, and it had the original Super Smash Brothers N64 commercial post. The So Happy Together. Sorry, I had to get that out. It was very.
I'm going to derail for 2 seconds.
I just did. What do you mean?
Well, for another tangent here, because the show is all tangents.
Of course.
Who was your go-to N64 Super Smash character?
Specifically N64?
Specifically N64. Because otherwise you get into way too many.
No,
move into the GameCube
it's funny because my go-to really never changed throughout any of the games. In Melee, Brawl, the Ultimate, like it's typically Mario, which is very kind of vanilla, I would agree. But N64 specifically, I had 2. Mario was one of them, and the other one was absolutely Link.
Link and DK were the choices I would go with. If you got Donkey Kong's Power Punch loaded up and just held it and waited for the right chance to strike, that was an OP move.
I agree. Here's the and B. I'm going to trigger B-Rad. This will bring back to college. Our buddy Murph, his go-to was Jigglypuff. And my God,
that does not surprise me at all.
He would destroy us with Jigglypuff, and it was hilarious. I don't think he's watching right now, but I'll tell him to go watch this back, and he'll get a good laugh out of it.
I love that.
He would annihilate us.
If you guys would all annihilate me today if we played, so I'm not even worried about it.
Of course. I still have to annihilate you in the show. Anyway.
Oh, that'll happen. I'm not good at the show.
And we're talking college video games. Remember how you went your entire college career without being able to shut me out in NHL?
Let's move to rank the blank. Now, Joel, keeping it to not being able to shut you out in the misery that was the early 2010s Blackhawks and how dominant they were at the time.
Oh man, that's
I'm going
right.
to give you a chance to think about some of those Blackhawks teams.
Oh,
and
what's happening here?
Your theme this week is Blackhawks players that Joel would most want to get a drink with.
Oh, I love this. Let's go.
Okay, so as I finished typing in the graphic.
Yeah, as you finish typing it, yes, exactly. Murph B-Rad is referring to that bastard knew how to do the sleep KO so efficiently.
Okay, we're ready here. The Blackhawks that Joel would most want to get a drink with.
Okay, all right.
Number one, or I shouldn't say number one because I don't want to.
First player
here. First player, Duncan Keith.
Oh my God. He looked so fun. Fun story about him too, as I rank him, and this will preface my ranking. I was lucky enough to go to both the 2013 and 15 Cup rallies. And the 13 one, I was very close to the stage. They had like the VIP section, so obviously like that, but like we were right up on the barricade right before the like VIP area. A blast. Corey Crawford's drunk speech, legendary. It was all amazing. But as things kind of ended-ish, we were like, should we start walking away? We did, and then we heard Duncan Keith come up to the podium, tipsy as all hell. Where are you guys going? Chicago. Live today with me and my teammates as Lions. He gave a Braveheart speech, and it was incredible. That alone is making me put him at 2. Okay. I'm saving 1, but I want to get so many drinks with Duncan Keith. It's not even funny. I almost regret not putting him at 1, but I want to save 1 still. Oh, it's actually kind of fitting I put him at 2. Being his number and all. Anyway.
The next player on this list, Nick Foligno.
Oh, see, that's more of like that's less of a party and more of just like I just want to hang out with him.
Right. You just want to be his friend.
Right. I want to be buddies with him. Like he seems like he's a great time, like from that aspect, but also like I would just want to sit there over the course of like a 6-hour just watching a game session and sip beers at the I got to put him at 3. I'm sorry. 4.
At 4. Okay.
4. Because like that nothing. It's one of those just like it's more of a talking thing rather than a party thing. But I love Nick Foligno.
Third player on the list, Jonathan Taves.
I mean, I've always wanted to. I mean, I did meet him technically. He did fist bump me. That was fun. My answer may surprise you. I think I might put him at 5.
Okay.
So, like, he seems super fun, but also like I feel like he's Captain Serious, right? Like he's a partier. It definitely seems like it, but you got to like be close with him to like really get that side of him. And if this is just, so I think 5 is fine there.
Fourth player on the list, Dustin Byfuglien.
I knew he was going to be on this list. Oh my God. Oh, that's tough. He is worth number 1, but I'm still waiting for a name here. B-Rad, put him at 1, you coward. You know what? All right, I'll put him at 1.
Okay.
I'll put him at 1. He was the life of the party during that 2010 on those buses. That was awesome. Yeah, Mateo agrees too. He's got to be 1. I'm the only way I'm going to be disappointed in doing that is if there's one other guy you have on here, but I'll wait.
So here's the thing. As I put this list together,
okay,
I thought, man, I have been really kind to Joel with whoever the number 5 player is on these shows in recent weeks.
Oh boy.
And I need to show you what was in my notes because I don't think you're going to believe me if I say it otherwise. So on the screen, the show notes, the 5th player on this list
is
Chris Campoli.
How could you do this?
Because I have been way too kind in recent weeks, and it is time for you to be taken down a peg. So the number 3 player on your list is Chris Campoli.
Oh, Captain John, Captain, my Captain. I'm so sorry I have forsaken you like this.
And I need to tell you, I had thought, man, do I put Corey Crawford in this list? Knowing that he would have been no lower than number 2 on your list.
Number 1,
probably number 1, because I was thinking that he was the player that you were going to hold out for that number 1 spot if I put him at number 5. And if I said him any earlier, he claims that 1 spot.
I nearly put Keith at 1, to be honest. Like Keith and Bufflin for me could switch 1 and 2, just depending on the day. But the Campoli thing, I want to throw up. I want to throw up.
So,
but there was one name you didn't say that also would have absolutely taken the number 1 spot. I thought you might say him, but I also kind of thought maybe you wouldn't.
I have 2 players who came to my mind, and I'm not totally sure if they would have been on yours.
Who?
The 2 that I had thinking of, Chris Versteeg.
There it is. Yep.
And Michael Handzus. Those were the 2 I was thinking of.
Michael Handzus.
Because wasn't he in for that, like at the very end of the 2015 one? 13. Or am I or 13 one, sorry. And just obliterated on the bus. But it was Versteeg was the one.
Guess,
like that was the main one I was thinking of.
I guess I can't say I remember because we were watching the bus parade from the crowd in Millennium Park waiting for them to get to the stage. So like we were watching on the big Titantron, but like it was a little different like type of broadcast. Versteeg was a Bruin, that's right. Towards the end of his career, he was just all over the damn place. I loved Chris Versteeg was the one where I think I would have put him at 1.
If I had
when you take a breaststroke through an underground tunnel.
If I take
and the Stanley Cup is a dream.
If I take Chris Campoli and Jonathan Taves off of this list and sub in Versteeg and Crawford, how does that change your list? So I put both of those 2 in, plus Bufflin, plus Keith, plus Foligno.
Oh, I can move everybody around now.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, I probably would say
I made you suffer enough. I'll take this down and not put Campoli on the screen.
Versteeg is going number 1.
Okay.
And then I believe Keith is going to stay number 2. Bufflin is going to go 3. That's where I was going to put him originally. And then Foligno's. Oh, I'm sorry.
Foligno and Crawford.
My bad. So, yeah. Then Crawford would go 4. Foligno would go 5.
Okay. I kind of thought that might be about where you'd put it, but
it's tough because like Crawford is a partier, but he's also so shy. Like I feel like that's kind of why I put Taves a little back. He's shy unless he's around.
Goalies are just weird, as we say on the show all the time.
Corey Crawford also likes to sprain his ankle at Rise Against concerts at the House of Blues. So
yeah, there you go.
Chris Versteeg, rap god. That was a good one. That was a very good one.
Would you believe me if I told you I put that together about 10 minutes before the show? That was the idea, and that I was still looking up Blackhawks players to try and really lock in that list, like 3 minutes before we were on air.
All right.
I told you I was checking on something before the show. That's what I was checking on.
That's okay. I was like, I would believe you because I was literally watching you do it.
But yeah, I had to throw Campoli in there to knock you off your game for 1 week here.
Knock me off my game. You're literally making me want to puke.
Hang on. Shut my face. What did I do that earned a shut your face?
What did you do?
I didn't disrespect Boston. Normally, that's what does it.
I don't know what you. Mark, what did he do?
Mark, what did I do?
What did he do? Because I want to bash him for it too now. Any chance I get to bash, I'll do it.
That's it for tonight's show, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
We gotta go. Bye. We're actually 5 minutes.
For goalies. No, I mean that in the most loving way. And Deanna will tell you the same thing. Deanna will tell you the same thing. And she says it, and I say it, and Sam whispers. All of us have said it. Goalies are weird. And we love them for that.
I mean, to be fair, you got the weirdest of them all in your franchise's history, so we get it.
With Briz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird in like the most sincere, endearing way. Like he was. It's only game.
Mr.
Why
Universe.
you have to be mad? The universe is so humongous big.
I need a Last Dance style documentary on Ilya Bryzgalov's career. I need it so much.
Hey man, he would show up and play pretty well against us in the playoffs.
He was enigmatic, is I think a great word to use to describe Briz, and that's a word that he would like used to describe him.
I'm going to throw you a bone too because I kind of ragged on you with the whole NHL thing.
Pause for 2 seconds. B-Rad just nailed it. I want a Cosmo style show that Briz hosts. Yes, sign me up.
I ragged on you for the NHL thing. I'm going to rag on B-Rad now. I ragged on you for not being able to shut me out in NHL. Then there was a lovely, fateful night where B-Rad was like, how long has it been since anyone's beat you in NHL, Joel? I'm like, I don't know. I forgot that nobody can beat me. And he was like, I'll beat you. I get to be the Blackhawks. Or I'm sorry, I get to be the Legends. Everyone remembers in NHL, I believe 14, they had the Legends team. It was like Gretzky, Lemieux.
Everybody's a 99.
Everybody's a 99. I think the goalie was Dominic Hasek. They had Bobby Orr was on defense. Like, all the crazy legends. And he was like, okay, and you get to be the Blackhawks. I get to be the Legends. I beat him 21-1. Sorry, B-Rad.
I remember.
Oh, yeah, and then Dan beat your ass, too.
He wasn't playing as the Legends when I played him, but there is that.
Sorry. All in
Good
fun.
times.
It was
Good
a blast.
But yeah, that's it for tonight's show. So thank you to everybody
who took the under. Who took the under?
On what?
Time.
Oh, good point. Yeah, we're under an hour. Maybe we'll just really milk this.
Thank you all for tuning in. New fans and returning. Our next show okay, I can't do that. Our next show will be not next week because I will be in Vegas, hopefully watching games 5 and ideally game 6 as well in Vegas in a sports book, which will be fun. So then June 25th will be our next show, and it will be, Dan?
The mock draft special.
Second annual Pod Snipe Celly mock draft.
Dan is going to learn how to pronounce player names.
Have I mispronounced any so far of the prospects?
Berkeley Catton.
Did I say Catan?
You did say Catan.
Settlers of Berkeley Catan.
That's a fantasy hockey team name. It's an idea. If you draft him,
Dibs.
Put that one in the back burner.
No, there was no gummy this week.
Yeah, he thought about it, but work meetings tomorrow morning. He decided,
oh, wait a minute. There's 2 meanings to this fun pun right here. The mock draft. The mock draft. My cousin from Boston. What?
The radio commercials they did with those were so bad. And maybe they were better
Boston.
In other parts of the country. They were terrible when I heard them.
Hey, I made a joke today about being Team Boston or something about like we love you too. That's not a heart. What the hell's going on here? There we go. That's a heart. 2 weeks. I know we're gonna make you wait. Sorry. That's on me. That's on me. I'm going on vacation.
But we hope it'll be worth the wait.
Yeah, of course. It'll be worth the wait. Come on now.
Yeah. Plus, not only that, but we do dodge going up against Game 5 next Tuesday night with the show.
Dan, we got 6 seconds.
Oh. See you. Thanks. Bye.
Oh, there it is.
We made it. 1 hour.
All right.
He's Joel. I'm Dan. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody.
Bye.